Hi kids. Okay, so our first lesson is going to be for the Math 3, Unit 3, and the very first quiz. This is on the Pythagorean Theorem, so it should be review for all of you. The Pythagorean Theorem teaches us that the square of the two sides, the two legs of our right triangle, so the area of square 1 and the area of square 2, are equal to the area of a square made from the hypotenuse. So again, that's the area of square 1 plus the area of square 2 equals the area of square 3. This really is where our a squared plus b squared equals c squared comes from. So if we call this side a, b, and c, then we can say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so that is the basic idea of Pythagorean theorem. So the sum of the squares of the two legs equals the sum of the square of the two legs equals the square of the hypotenuse. Okay, so let's go through our first example of the Pythagorean theorem. If we are given these two sides of our triangle, we want to find the third side, which is our hypotenuse. Remember that the sum of the two squares of our legs equals the square of the hypotenuse. So we are going to take 21, square it, and add it to 72 squared. This will equal our hypotenuse squared, so we can call that C. And so we need to resolve that. We need to know what 21 squared plus 72 squared equals in order to find C squared. Okay, I had to grab my calculator. Here we go. I'm going to type in 21 squared plus 72 squared. That is equal to 5,625. Okay, so the area of 21, or this side length, which would be 21 squared, the area of the square of 72 equals the square that comes off of here. This square has an area of 5,625. If we just want to know the length of the side, we now need to take the square root. So the square root of 5,625 is, I don't know, let's ask the calculator, 75. So our hypotenuse is equal to 75. Okay, here's our second type of problem. We've been given the side length of a leg and the length of the hypotenuse. So we need to find the second leg. How long is that? Well, we know one leg, and we know the area of a leg plus our second leg squared is equal to our hypotenuse squared. So this is just an algebra problem where we need to isolate and solve for b. So 10 squared is 100. 26 squared, I don't know, so I grabbed my trusty calculator. 26 squared is 676. And now I'm going to solve for b. So b squared equals 576. Again, that's fantastic that the square of our leg, or the area of the square sitting off to the side, is equal to 576, but I just want to know the one side length. So I need to take the square root of 576. And that is equal to 24. All right, the third type of problem that you can see with the Pythagorean theorem is to be given all three side lengths and asked if it is a right triangle. If it is a right triangle, then the Pythagorean theorem will be true. In other words, when we take the square of our two legs and we add them, it will equal the square of our hypotenuse. If they don't equal the square of the hypotenuse, then it's not a right triangle. If they do all equal, then we know it's a right triangle. So let's test it and see. We're going to say 9 squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. If this is a true statement, then this is a right triangle. So 9 squared is 81 plus 144 equals 225. So what is 81 plus 144? It is 225. So that is a true statement, and so this is a right triangle. And your question, if it says true or false, is this a right triangle? It would be true.